The strangers, believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, beneath the pale moon. Loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my body. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I where the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a
Alright guys. Oops, I bumped my levels. Okay, hopefully that's back to right. Sorry about being late. I slept in. Ugh, I gotta figure out a new time to do this show. But anyway. Thinking about doing it, I don't know. If I do it earlier in the day, like early mornings, I get better viewers, but I miss a lot of the news. So, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Apart from that, let's jump into it, because boy oh boy do we have a lot of news. Alright, but let's jump into it. Let's break it all down. Satellite of Discontent may be here. He's currently playing Subnautica at the moment, and he doesn't realise I've just jumped online because I just jumped on because I'm late. But yeah, if he jumps in, he can obviously jump in the Discord. Satellite, if you're watching. If not, enjoy Subnautica. I understand. But let's get going. Alright guys, so let's break it all down. Let's talk about this Jussie Smollett. What's his name? Jussie Smollett. Because we've been following this story for a little while now. We basically called this a few weeks ago. We said to you that this story was very, very suspect. We said that it was just, it didn't make sense, and I actually said back then that I thought it was actually fake. It turns out the little red panda was actually right. So we're going to break it all down. There's been some major developments, some major theories about this, and we're going to go through and talk about it. So, did Empire star fake Chicago mega country attack with 2 extras? So, update. According to Chicago PD spokeswoman Anthony Gomiti, media reports about the incident being a hoax are unconfirmed by case detectives. They have said it's unconfirmed at the moment, but let's talk about the theory. Meanwhile, 20th Century Fox has said in a statement the idea that Jussie Smollett has been or would be written off Empire is patently ridiculous. He remains a core player to this very successful series, and we continue to stand behind him. So Chicago PD called ABC 7 News to report that Smollett is considered a victim, and the police investigation is ongoing. Empire star Jussie Smollett may have staged a hate crime with 2 extras because his character was being written off the show. Report of ABC 7, who has covered the case extensively. Sorry. Now, obviously, like I say, police have said that that's not true, that it's unconfirmed, and also ABC are claiming that he's not going to be written off, but how much of that is, yeah, who knows. But let's keep going through the rest of the story. Anyway, breaking news from local station on Chicago on Jussie Wells, maybe closing soon. Yeah. That's what we're actually just talking about that, actually. Yeah, JJ. But yeah, early on Thursday, TMZ reported that police raided the home of two men who police arrested at the Ethe airport Wednesday night. According to WBBM TV reporter Charlie Demara, the two men are Nigerian and were extras on Empire. So, on January 29th, Smollett said he was attacked at 2 a.m. outside Chicago apartment building after walking home from a subway. Smollett said he was attacked by two men in ski masks who shouted racist and homophobic slurs and said, "This is mega country," during the assault. A claim the Empire Star failed to mention in the initial police report, yet said his manager says he heard over the phone. Which is interesting because, well, you think at the end of the day if they would have gone through and they would have actually heard them all at once. But anyway, Smollett eventually turned on heavily redacted phone records to the police department after his manager, Brendan Moore, claimed they were on the phone during the attack, and Moore heard the mega country phrase. He said the attackers then doused him in bleach and put a noose around his neck, which he still wears. Which he was still wearing as he walked back into his Chicago apartment, along with the sandwich. Questions were raised over Somali's story, including Somali's neighbours. "I don't believe it happened the way he said it did," said neighbour who lives in the same building. "I've been in this neighbourhood 5 years. I don't believe it. Not around here. Half the people are gay and the other half are black." 13 days after the attack, the Empire Star, Smollett claimed prompted widespread support among political activists, candidates, and those in the entertainment industry. Democrat senators and 2020 contenders Cory Booker and Kamala Harris both described the incident as a modern-day lynching. Look, I think it's fake. I think he's faked it. I think that he may have been written off the show or was going to be written off the show. And I think he might have faked it to go through and, try and stay on the show. You know, drum up support and make it harder for him to be written off. After all, can you imagine, like a TV program, writing this guy off after he was supposedly attacked? Oof, the backlash. ABC sources. Police investigate Jussie Smollett for staging attack. Police cannot confirm. According to a new report, Chicago police are investigating the possibility that actor Jussie Smollett worked with two men in a staged attack against him last month. Jussie Smollett claimed to be the victim of the attack in downtown Chicago in January. The Empire actor said the two men in masks beat him, wrapped rope around his neck, put a chemical on him, and called him a racial homophobic slurs. He also said the attackers yelled, "This is mega country." Now police have confirmed the identity of two persons of interest, both of whom are reportedly Nigerian and appear on Empires as extras. So even if they're not staged attacks, even if these are real attacks, it's not Trump supporters. In fact, they're Nigerian. Now, look, it is possible that this was a real attack. Yes, if they are Nigerian, they might be Muslim and therefore have a problem with him being homophobic or being gay. There is that possibility. So it could be that. Or it could be a staged attack. I'm leaning between staged attack, but anyway. Mere moments after the ABC report, the Chicago Police Department issued a firm refundation. I don't know what that word is. Saying media reports about the Empire incident being a hoax are unconfirmed by detectives. It's still flat. Yeah, good on you, NBC. Superintendent Eddie Johnson has contacted ABC 7 Chicago to state on the record that we have no evidence to support their reporting and to suppose CPD sources are uninformed and inaccurate, the department spokesman Anthony Giannini said Thursday. Now, obviously, the major difference here is there is a major difference between it being unconfirmed and being wrong. And that's where I would say that's interesting choice of words, because they actually haven't turned around and said the report is not right. They just said they can't, there's no evidence to support it. So, during the tearful interview that aired on Good Morning America Thursday, the 36-year-old actor said that he was pissed off about those who didn't believe his story, like every good victim says. It's like, you know, that first the thing, I listen, if I tell the truth, then it's because it's the truth. Well, that makes complete coherent sense. It then became a thing of like, how do you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe, blah, 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 blah. It's quite simple, we don't believe it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. In my opinion, and I'll do a full retraction if I'm wrong, there is something very, very fishy about this story. And in my opinion... No worries, NPC. Have a great day, buddy. Yes, we're a bit late today. Sorry about that. I popped in and say hi. Night. Yeah, I wish I had more viewers too. But anyway. Yeah, we're a bit late today, so... Yeah, hopefully earlier, guys, tomorrow. Hopefully back on the right timing. Persons of interest in Jussie Smollett's case were extras on Empire of Nigerian Descent. Now details have emerged of investigation into alleged assault of a gay African-American actor in Chicago last month. At least one of the persons of interest, Chicago police to question Thursday, is connected to the alleged assault of the Empire actor is Jussie Smollett, a link to the Fox program, and are both African-American according to WGN Investigates. Additional reporting by Charles Demir is reporting that two men of Nigerian descent and appear as an extra on the Fox drama Empire, a show which Jussie Smollett is a starring actor. So yeah, we pretty much covered that already. Major K report. Jussie Smollett case takes a major turn as sources claim it was staged. So the Jussie Smollett case appeared to take a major turn Thursday when multimedia reports reported that he's been questioned by police. Several reports indicate that it was heavily redacted phone records that tipped police off that something wasn't right, which is what we actually said yesterday, believe it or not. Smollett had turned on his phone records, had turned in his phone records to provide evidence of the attack, but had removed a number of calls prior to handing them over. Sources also claim that the attack was likely orchestrated by Smollett. However, until evidence proves otherwise, police have stated that Smollett is considered to be a victim. They also said that thus far, the actor has cooperated with authorities. So, there's that. Now, the reason why people are suspecting it might have been him was because of the fact that he was going to be written out of the show, reportedly. Although, that said, the Empire cast, or the directors, have said that at the end of the day, yeah, that wasn't true, but let's jump into it. As previously reported, TMZ said that Thursday that Chicago police not only brought Jussie Smollett in for additional questioning, but there are two men that have been questioned a person of interest. One person of interest is another Empire actor who fled into Chicago's O'Hare Airport last Wednesday night. According to TMZ, Chicago Police ID the two persons of interest by tracking their rideshare taxi cab records to track their locations on the night of the alleged mega polar vortex attack. CBS Chicago reported Charlie Demir said that the police raided the home of the two persons of interest Wednesday night. Police took bleach, shoes, electronics, and more. Both men are Nigerian descendant and on the show Empire. Hey, buddy, how are you? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna mute Sat for a sec until he's there, because it's that, or he sounds like he's been attacked by a sea monster. So yeah. Local crime report. That's alright, let me unmute you. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like we've been attacked by a sea monster. How are you, bro?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm telling you what, we're going through this Jussie Smollett incident, and, oh, boy, it's getting a little spicy over there, over in Chicago.
Crazy.
So the skinny version is they believe, the police reports or media reports are, that the incident was faked, that he supposedly used 2 casts of Nigerian descent, by the way, to who were actors or extras on the show to carry out the attack, and it was actually the phone records, which we said were very suspicious, that actually tipped him off. Now, the police have said there's no evidence to support this, and they are confirming that he is a victim until proven otherwise, which is, obviously good. We want to stick to the tenets of society, and, same thing happens to him as it does to Kavanaugh, innocent until proven guilty.
I agree.
Yep. But apparently, according to media reports, he was going to be written out of the show.
Really?
We're just about to get into that. So the Empire Star was being written out by the show Empire. Now, obviously, the show Empire has denied these reports. But there's more local crime reporters were slow paying the case to see if Smollett was telling the truth. CWB previously reported that police had already had Jussie Smollett's complete phone records from the tower data dump given by the phone provider, which is kind of scary, but anyway. When Smollett gave the police the limited and redacted phone numbers down on a PDF, all police had to do was look at the phone numbers he deleted. So, yeah. So multiple sources tell ABC7 Chicago that Smollett and the 2 men were being questioned by the police, staged the attack, allegedly because his character was being written out of the show. Now, like I say, they are claiming that the show Empire is saying this is not true, but we're getting multiple reports stating that, well, maybe it might be a little bit more true than we think. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? Are you surprised by this hashtag mega country attack? That it might have been a fake.
I thought it was a fake from the beginning. This just adds more information to that.
Yeah, well, we both called it, didn't we? We both said it sounded very suspicious.
Yeah.
Him
and
heavily
looks
redacting.
like he's up to, and he looks like he's doing it because of some other reason, allegedly.
Well, at the end of the day, apparently a couple of these extras were caught trying to get to the airport to flee.
Oh, gosh.
So, at the end of the day, I don't think these guys are exactly going to be the cheer choir, so to speak, for Jussie Smollett. Oh, I like that, Dreamer. Dreamer says in chat, you need to smoke at least a pound of weed to believe this. Yeah. I presume he's talking about the attacks incident. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, we basically called this. We said it was most likely fake. The huge phone deletion or removal of phone numbers was very suspicious. The report that no CCTV footage saw it. The timing, like he waited half an hour until he got home to call the police department. He never said anything about the whole mega country thing, but then reportedly his publisher or his manager heard it on the phone, which he happened to be on the phone to. It was a little bit weird. But look, obviously, guys, we will keep you up to date on this story. We have been following it because I find it very interesting. And, oh boy, if it comes out that he was fake. Oof. Yeeks. That's not going to be good for
Yeah.
him. Not going to be good for him at all.
Nope, not at all.
But yeah, any last thoughts before we jump onto Trump's wall?
I think he should. If it comes out to be faked, just the internet will never forget, and maybe we can hashtag. I don't know. What's a good meme hashtag we could coin for this guy?
Fake Somali. Smollett,
Fake Smollett. Isn't it Smollett?
Yeah. Smollett, Somali, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Wolfie says in chat they need to arrest everybody involved in this right now. I don't know about arrest, but they definitely need to drag everybody in from some serious questioning. Don't forget his subway footage. Don't forget his subway footlong came out in perfect condition. Dreamer, really? You made me read that out. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, yeah, well, look, we basically thought it was fake. That's our opinion, of course. We have no evidence to support that at the moment, but that's what it's starting to look like to me. But let's jump on the Trump wall, because we got some good news regarding the wall.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, Trump frees up $8 billion to build the wall. It's happening, boys. President Donald Trump has freed up $8 billion from various government agencies to build the wall, according to Fox News. Trump announced earlier on Thursday that he plans on signing a bipartisan congressional bill that provides limited border wall funding and declare a national emergency at the southern border. Now, of course, today was dominated by many stories. Which one was the bipartisan budget bill for the border security and the big numbers? The president was not happy with the $1.375 billion to build the wall. He could do whatever he wanted with. Kremlin began. The question was, would the president add something with that? Would he declare a national emergency? I would just go off the phone with Mick Mulvey, Chief of Staff, and the answer is a resounding yes. Now, for the first time, you'll hear how much it is and where the money is coming from. It's going to be around $8 billion, and he had the $1.3 billion, then $600 million would come from the Treasury. The Treasury forfeit front $2.5 billion out of DoD. The consulted with Mick Mulvey and the White House over the last few months on what they could actually do, and they're going to use some money as they feel they could spare on the drug addiction account. He continued, then they came across the $3.5 billion for the military construction budget. Kremlin added they can free up and help to respect, and then of course they have the additional money. It all adds up to $8 billion, which is more than the $5.5 he needed for the wall. So the $1.3 billion, not enough for the president. He wanted $5.7. He walks away at the end of the day with $8 billion, and of course the Democrats and some Republicans are upset about that. The president's decision declared a national emergency for the wall was not unexpected during the Trump's speech he gave last month, where he announced he was going to end the government shutdown. He also explained he would go down in this route if Congress did not come up with a deal in a 3-week period. Now, obviously, the major thing about this is Nancy Pelosi warns the future Democrat president could declare a national emergency to push gun control. I doubt that, because what Trump is doing is not against the Bill of Rights. Americans have a right to bear arms. So I don't know how that would actually work, but
the Speaker of the House has that ability too?
No. So what she's saying here is House Speaker Nancy Pelosi warned President Donald Trump on Thursday that a future Democratic president, so if they win in 2020 with, vote rigging and stuff like that, could declare a national emergency to achieve an agenda such as gun control policy. Responding to the president's announcement that he would declare a national emergency related to the U.S. southern border, Pelosi maintained that Democratic presidents can declare emergencies as well. So that precedent for the president is setting here is something that should be met with great unease and dismay by the Republicans. Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters that her weekly press conference, "You want to talk about a national emergency? Let's talk about the 1-year anniversary of another manifestation of epic gun violence in America. The national emergency. Why don't you declare that emergency, Mr. President? I'm not advocating for any president to do the end run on Congress. I'm just saying that Republicans should have some dismay about the door that they are opening, the threshold they are crossing," Pelosi continued. The Senate vote to pass the government funding and border security bill late Thursday afternoon, and the House is expected to bring the bill to the floor late early evening. So what she's basically saying here is that Trump is setting a dangerous precedent, and that at the end of the day, by Trump going on and using the emergency powers to build the wall, that the Democratic president, if ever was to be elected, would or could use those same powers to end gun reform or to bring in gun control, which I don't agree with.
That whole thing, no. I think she's being hyperbolic. He didn't bring in the ability for emergency. That was 2 or 3 presidents ago. Secondly, he found the money himself without defunding or affecting anything else in the budget. So kudos to him. And they gave him no freaking choice. They're not giving him a damn choice. The only way to get his wall up is to go around the house. What? Do they want him to shut down the government again? Come on.
Look. At the end of the day, to me, this is more about them being desperate. They don't want this wall. They know that if Trump builds this wall, it's going to stop the illegals coming into the country, which is going to hamper their 2020 election. They've realized, in my opinion, that the only way they can win the 2020 election is by flooding America with illegals. 80% of illegals will vote for the Democrats. Trump has been deporting all of these illegals faster than they can bring them in. So at the moment, it's going to be easier for the Republicans to win the 2020 election because Trump's been kicking these people out, right? Now, look, obviously that helps the Republicans, and I'm not saying it's a... Well, actually, it is a good thing, but anyway. But what I was going to say was they've realized at this stage the only way they can win an election is by bringing thousands of people up into the border. Now, if Trump starts building this wall, all of a sudden, those thousands of people won't necessarily make that trek anymore. Why would they walk all this way only to be fronted by a great big barrier? And not only is he not getting the $5 billion that he wants, he's actually getting $8 billion now. So the wall can actually go further because that $5 billion was only the bare minimum. So at the end of the day, they're worried about the wall. They're worried about their vote in 2020. And I think they're literally trying to scare the Republicans into not supporting it because at the end of the day, they know this is going to hurt their 2020 election.
Yeah. Now, I want to actually add an additional addendum here.
Sure.
A lot of people run around saying that a bunch of illegals, say 50,000, 100,000, let's be generous, 500,000 illegals vote, right? And they say that, well, actually, the number of Americans, real Americans that can vote is in the hundreds of millions.
Right.
So how can illegal votes actually have any kind of impact? Well, there's a saying that if you could win an election based on the people who don't vote, you'd always win. The number of people who actually do vote in America is, I think it's below 30%.
Yeah.
Something like that. So a large number of illegals voting, when contrasted to the very few people in America who actually do vote, does have an impact.
Yeah, I think in 2016, how many voted in... I think it was around 30%.
I think during the Trump one, it was 15.
And that's not including the dead people that voted twice.
Yeah.
How many? Here's how many people voted in the 2016 election. Here we go. All right. So Hillary Clinton had received. All right. So at least 119,000 people voted in 2016. Oh, sorry, 119 million. Sorry. So, and the population of the US is roughly what, 300 something million? So, yeah, it's roughly 30%.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. And the thing is too is that I guess the more people become disillusioned, that percentage is just going to keep dropping.
Yeah.
And it'll eventually come to a point where the number on illegal voting really starts to have a massive impact.
Oh, yeah.
But at this point, even if 1 or 2% of the votes, I mean, on a close election, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And then let's not get started on the dead voters too, you know.
And that's what they're doing, is they're flooding all these illegals into these heavily Republican areas that are strong points. Like, for example, Texas. Over in America, with the way that they've got the Electoral College, right? And this is why the Democrats keep going on about the Electoral College. With the Electoral College that they have, you still only need to get some major areas and then a few other little areas. If you get, like, for example, California, Texas, and I think it's starts with M.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts or something like that. No, I think that's New York. But there's three major areas that you need to secure. If you get those three major areas and a few other little areas, you're pretty much always going to win. Florida's another one, for example, right? Like, that's what they were saying. They're like, oh, Hillary's got Florida down pat. Well, no, she didn't. Trump actually won Florida. So, you know, by going through and flooding these areas with illegals, like, for example, Texas, they can actually get the Electoral College to be more likely in their favor because of these huge voting numbers that the Electoral College has on these certain areas. So there is a method in their madness. Let me try to find what areas they are. But anyway, while we keep going. But yeah, so there is a madness to their... So, okay, so here it is here. Right. 55 states. Let me put this up on screen so you guys can see it too.
Sure.
So, this is the area that you see here, right? Now, most countries or most states are like 3, 5, 7, stuff like that. 55 are for what I believe is California. 36 is for Texas, and 29 are for Florida. Now you've got other places that are like, for example, 20, 10, and stuff like that. There's two 20s there. There's a 10 there. There's a 10 there. There's an 11 over here. But at the end of the day, these three main places, also up here, 29 as well. So these four main areas, actually, if you win those, you have a very high chance of winning in the election. Just because of the amount of electoral votes they have. And that's what they're doing, is at the moment they're flooding Texas, they're flooding this area with illegals so that they can go through and they can sway that to a blue state. It's the same thing they did with California. But yeah. But apart from that, is there anything else we need to add, or are we pretty much done on this conversation?
I'm actually... I'm not actually... I don't want to give advice to the Democrats, but, you know, they could use the Electoral College system actually to their favor. You know, instead of trying to abolish it, all they need to do is get little pockets of popular votes with illegal voting to get these areas, rather than get rid of the Electoral College and then rely on an overall American illegal voting. But, you know, I don't want to give advice to the Democrats.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, obviously, the reason why they want to get rid of the Electoral College is because places like, for example, California, which are very, very Democrat, tend to be easily elections. So at the end of the day, you know, if you go through and abolish this electoral college, then they just need to bring in the masses. They don't care where they go. They can flood California with more illegals than they could possibly point a stick at. You know, they don't have to worry about dispersing them per se. They just have to bring them into one certain state, which sanctuary cities, which is what they're doing. But at the moment,
it's kind of funny how they.
Sorry.
It's kind of funny how they think that it'll turn out well for them, filling any area or country or state full of illegals. I mean,
Look,
geez, that's working great for Queensland and Britain and Sweden.
But this is the thing. It is working out great for the Democrats. The Democrats don't care about crime. The Democrats don't care about law and order or any of this sort of shit, right? What they care about is money.
Not. They've got the police state now. You know, they're militarizing the police. You know.
Well, they get that. They get their police state, and they get a whole bunch of people who are going to pay taxes. So they get more money.
If they think they're going to pay taxes, yes.
No.
Most illegals don't work. Most immigrants don't work. At least that's the stats these days. I don't know.
Yeah, but those.
Maybe in America they
but
do.
those are going to be. But those are going to be Democrat voters for generations, because poverty breeds poverty, for example. So at the end of the day,
that's absolutely true. Yes.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, if your mum votes for Democrat, for example, then chances are, and you grew up in below a poverty area, you are more likely to vote Democrat too, because you are relying on the system.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with Dreamer. I really think that these states need to get more voter ID laws all through the states.
Yeah, well, we have to in Australia.
I mean, we have it in Australia. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So
you can't vote in Australia unless you've got ID.
That's true. Yeah. Although we do hand out IDs like candy, and we do also hand out citizenship as well, like candy. So
yeah, there's that too. But anyway, but yeah, I do agree with Dreamer when he says voter ID needs to happen at the polls. It is everybody. Oh look, most people have a driver's license. Most people has some form of photo ID that they can actually go through and they can use for voter ID. Birth certificates, whatever it may be. Or some form of photo ID is actually better. So yeah, I completely agree with Dreamer when he says that it needs to happen. I'll go through some of the previous comments too. Wolfie, such an attack on the Second Amendment could cause civil war. Totally agree with you that. But
I agree.
But the problem is, Wolfie, is if that happens, they will then just bring in the police state. And they will basically seal it up that way. Dreamer, the war needs to happen with the gun control. Lots of illegal guns crossing the border. Even though the port of entry, the wall and technology would help. True. Don't forget this. Okay, I've already read that. Yeah. Alright, let's jump on to the next story. I reckon. Because it's somewhat linked, actually. Speaking of California, majority of Californian residents want to leave. Why do you want to leave? A new poll reveals that 53% of Californian residents are considered leaving the Golden State because of high cost of living. And where do they want to go? They want to go to the Republican states. It's really weird like that, isn't it? It's just, moving along. The Trust Barometer poll by Element Intelligence was conducted January 4th to 20th among 1,500 Californian residents, so a pretty good sample pool, with the margin of error at 2.5%. So even if you take that 2.5%, there's still 50.5% want to leave at the worst case. So it's still an overwhelming majority. It's still a majority.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And by the way, and if you put that 2.5% in the other direction, it's actually 55.5% that want to leave. A special as oversample of 400 tech workers in San Francisco Bay Area was also conducted, with the margin of error being at 4.8%. The results are sobering. Nearly 2/3, or 62% of respondents, said they believe the best days of California were in the past. And who was running California in the past? I wonder. Sorry. In addition, more than 2/3, 68% of Californians believe the tech industry has been under-regulated, up to 6% from 2018. The portion is slightly higher among tech employees, 69% of whom think their industry has been under-regulated. 58% of Californians say the tech industry should be more regulated, up 12% from last year. Nearly 3/4 of residents, 72%, say cost and available of housing is a very serious issue for California, raising to 76% in the Bay Areas. 62% of residents say homelessness is a very serious issue for California. The proportion in the Bay Area is the same. SanFranciscoGate.com notes it appears that housing and homeless crisis has led to a pessimistic outlook. So California passed the United Kingdom last year to become the 5th largest economy in the world, behind only the US as a whole. China, Japan, and Germany. The Bay Area was also found to be leading the nation in an outward immigration. As we were just saying, they get them to come into California, meaning more people are leaving the region than moving in. However, most people who moved out of the Bay Area didn't go far. The #1 destination was Sacramento, followed by Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, and San Diego. I've also heard a lot of people were living in towards Texas as well. But that's obviously not in this report. So, who I can't remember. I seem to forget who used to be in charge of California. Was it the Republicans or Democrats?
Not sure. Does it have any information about the demographics of the people leaving California?
No.
Okay.
Well, I imagine it'd be white flight though.
Oh yeah, okay. I just wanted to get you to say that statement, not me.
Oh, okay. In case we get blacklisted. In case we get banned. That's not wrong. You can't say, there's no problem saying that. You can say that. White flight. It happens. It's only a fact. Although stating facts on Twitch can seem to get you banned these days. But look, at the end of the day, yeah. But like I say, look, at the end of the day, yeah. I've according to what I've heard, a lot of the white people are fleeing California and going to places like Texas, and all those sort of places. So yeah.
Good old Texas.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a Republican. Well, it was a Republican stronghold. So at the end of the day, you know, like, why do these people keep fleeing these Democratic areas and going to Republican places? It might be because they do a better job.
Get insane.
Yeah.
Anywhere run by Democrats is insane.
Oh, tell me about it. Like, you hear about the needle exchange program and all that sort of shit they're doing.
Oh boy.
And all the homeless people that are in California right now. They're literally running the city into the ground.
I mean, and also, you know, they really seem to be into infanticide these days with their the laws that they've been pushing.
Yeah, well, there's that too. Yeah, look, you just look at the abortion laws and stuff like that. And look, you and I are different on this opinion.
It's not an abortion if the baby is being born.
Yeah, well, you and I are different on this opinion. I'm okay with abortion if it's, for example, rape. If a girl was walking home and she was raped, then I think she has every right to abort, regardless of whether.
I agree on that too.
Yeah. Because, look, I'm not saying it isn't life. Yes, it is a life. But at the end of the day, do you really want to grow up with that being a constant reminder? Also, you know, if you want to get in genetics and stuff like that, most rapists are low IQ, don't go anywhere satellite. But I was going to say, at the end of the day, you know, do you really want someone that has violence tendencies to go through and to be fathering a child with you? You know, what if that child grows up with those same violent tendencies? So, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm only cool with abortion for the first trimester.
Yeah.
Of course, and what you said there. I mean, so rape, abortion, that's cool with me, and first trimester is cool. Anything past that, I'm like, that's murder.
Yeah. And look, I still do consider it as a life. Yes, I fully admit that a baby is a life. As soon as that sperm hits that egg, it is a life. It is murder. I'm not going to go missing bones about it. But at the end of the day, I still think that a woman should have a right to abort if she was being raped, or if there's like a medical factor, like for example, if your ex, like for example mine, she was on arthritis treatments, and at the end of the day, it's not a chance of having a birth defect, it is a guaranteed birth defect. So in those sort of situations, I would sort of say, yeah, that's fine too. But let's keep going anyway. Exclusive. Abby Jones. I was trained by Planned Parenthood. It seems like all these stories are linked today. Isn't it good? To become an abortion salesperson. Woo! Abby Jones, a former abortion clinic director at Planned Parenthood, joined Thursday's edition of XM Breitbart News Daily, telling host Alex Mulrow how Planned Parenthood trains its employees in selling abortions to women, particularly Christian women with religious objections to such measures. Quote, I worked at Planned Parenthood for 8 years, Abby Jones said, describing her time working with Planned Parenthood. I was an abortion clinic director there. I left in 2009 after a few things were happening. One, we were opening our country's largest abortion facility in the Western Hemisphere. We were going to be doing abortions through 6 months gestation, which was a problem for me because I knew those babies could live on their own. I've actually heard about this woman and seen this woman's interviews. It's actually, look, really quite alarming actually, but let's keep going. Jones continued, I was instructed to double our abortion quota, the number of abortions we had to sell to women coming in, which was also shocking to me. Ultimately, I left after witnessing a live ultrasound guided abortion procedure where I saw a 13-week-old fight and struggle for its life against the abortion instruments. And I knew then that there was that there was a life in the womb, and that there was humanity in the womb, and that those things were true. Then I was on the wrong side of this debate, so I ended up leaving and starting really trying to speak out about the things that I'd seen inside the abortion clinic. In the January interview with Breitbart News, Jason Johnson explained how she became pro-life after witnessing a forementioned abortion. Jones described Planned Parenthood consent, sell, and push for abortion. I get involved with Planned Parenthood truly believing that our goals was to reduce the number of abortions, said Johnson. There was a sort of what everybody is talking about during the time. Let's keep abortion safe, legal, and rare, right? Obama said it. Everybody said it. We were starting to see a shift inside the culture of abortion industry, and many years ago, that there was that they weren't even trying to keep abortions rare. They were trying to keep abortions accessible at any cost. Now, Johnson went on, so if the woman dies on the table, fine. At least she was able to have access to an abortion. That is absolutely disgusting. Who cares about the mother's life, right? As long as she can have her abortion. If we perforate a woman's uterus, if we perforate 1,000 women's uterus...
Perforate?
Yeah, Perforate? Perforate?
Perforate, yeah. It's... like, as in making an accidental hole through it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then that's fine, because at least they had access to get an abortion. If a woman has an infection after the abortion, because we're not properly sterilizing instruments, well, at least she had access. So we started seeing that shift, and that was very troubling for me. As someone who gets involved with this, honestly, good intentions, it was scaring to me. I was seeing inside the clinic and how things are really changing. Johnson is currently promoting a new film, Unplanned, which depicts Johnson's pro-life story and slated for theatrical release on March 29th. The article is quite long and in-depth, but yeah. Also, on this, guys, I will obviously...
babies at any cost.
Yeah. Look, guys, I will put a link in the description below for these articles, so if you want to go and check them out, please feel free to. Look, at the end of the day, look, I've actually seen this girl do interviews. I think she was on Steven Crowder's show a couple of weeks ago. She also went on about how the abortion rates, they would actually go through and lump all the appointments in together, so that they can actually class it as one appointment. And that way they can keep the numbers down, so that way they can jerry-rig the actual abortion figures. Also, she was saying that some of these clinics are actually quite disgusting. Some of these clinics have been reportedly having rats in the walls. Some of the instruments aren't being sterilized. There is a lot of health risks involved, and she was pointing that out as well.
And I just, it's alarming, or illuminating, that one of the targets was, Christians. I just quickly DM'd you something, just check that if you could.
Yep.
And it's just, I find that alarming because I want to point to something particular, just see if you check that for a sec.
Yeah. Probably not. You go rewrite it a different way.
Yeah, just think of which, which demographic tends to be the most
hang on.
Christian.
Let me say, yeah.
Put it that way.
So let me say it this way: white numbers, whites have a replacement rate far below what we are currently sustainable. We are actually in negative and negative territory when it comes to replacement levels, and having a bunch of white people perform abortions is not going to help that. And the overwhelming amount of people that are Christian are generally Caucasian. Yeah, so that's probably a better way of saying it. But yeah, and I would agree. Yeah, it is concerning that that they turn around and they would target, especially like Christians who have morals and stuff like that. Like,
yes.
It's like you're trying to corrupt people.
On the flip side of that, you can see that Candace Owens sees the conspiracy on the flip side as well, as in the location of clinics and the people that they target in those areas too.
They're poor areas, my understanding of it.
Yes. But of a certain demographic as well, Candace Owens believes that there's that going on there as well. But immigrants, that's not targeted in any way, shape, or form.
But but look, at the end of the day, obviously, and obviously there does need to be some sort of investigation happen into what happens to these baby parts as well. There's that common theory that they are sold per se.
Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, that does need to be investigated too, because if that is true, then that's kind of a whole can of worms to really open that one, isn't it?
The conspiracy theory is that there are certain drugs that require certain cells from this
stem cells and stuff like that,
placentas, etc.
Yeah. So, but yeah, guys, look, at the end of the day, as for the abortion, like I say, and this is something that Wolfie has said, fair enough on those the rape victims, but why wait for the baby to be born and then kill? Wolfie, yeah, we totally agree, man. We would actually say that's ridiculous. Generally, women know they've been raped, generally as it happens most of the times. So you don't have to wait until you're actually giving birth before you can actually abort it. But look, at the end of the day, and it's actually funny because that comment doesn't show up on my main screen for chats, and it doesn't show up on the live chat comments either. The only way I can see that is because of Streamlabs. Streamlabs is kind of coming up on the screen, but it won't come up on live chat, and it won't come up under my watch page either. That comment, which is really kind of interesting. So really kind of interesting. But that's basically where we're going to wrap it up there today, guys. Apart from that, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. It's only a small video today. It's only about 40 minutes. Oh, cool. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Thank you, Satellite, for coming in. I know it's short notice, and I know you're playing something.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I kind of slept in. Oh, okay. That's his fault. I tried to edit it and it rejected by accident. That's all right then. Okay, I thought it might have been the fact that I thought it might have been censorship because you used a certain R word there. I thought it might have been because you said rape and censored it. Apart from that, guys, if you did see our extra bonus video that went up yesterday, a lot of you actually have because it actually did better than my normal video. It was heavily censored. Oh boy, just a bit of a.
We have trouble.
Yeah, okay, so look, we'll just do a quick update on that. Sort of make this out to an hour. We went through
an hour to make a 15-minute video.
Oh, tell me about it. We went through yesterday and we did 2 streams. We did the normal stream and we also did the stream regarding the Marvel Captain Marvel movie. I will put a link
Captain
Marvel, yeah. I will put a link on the outro. I will put an outro out today. That will actually link that video so you actually get to see it. But what I was going to say was that's for anybody that's watching it after. But what happened was the video cut out within the first 2 minutes. It went up after that. It started resuming again after that. The first 2 minutes of the video was no longer to be found. So I don't know what I said in the first 2 minutes that caused them to cut the stream. And then after that, I couldn't find it under my video manager. I couldn't search for it under my account. The only reason we could find it was by using the direct link. Even the first time Satellite tried to use the direct link, it wouldn't use the video. Maybe because it was processing, but yeah. Anyway, we couldn't edit it. We couldn't put it to a playlist, and we couldn't access the playlist. The video came up. It was not monetized, which is rare because normally I have the monetization option on my videos. Because, well, I get hit by demonetization on everything anyway, so I don't want to go through and have to manually select videos. And then I went through and re-abled monetization, and the video then went to yellow, demonetized straight away. So, yeah, there was a lot of weird shit that went on. So we ended up privatizing that stream video. We ended up managing to edit it through under the direct link. And we re-uploaded the video. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's actually up. It's doing somewhat okay. Where we actually rant about the new Marvel movie video and the fact that the character is a feminist and she's going to ruin Captain Marvel. But yeah, so if I was a little angry in yesterday's second video, you know why. We had a whole bunch of censorship trying to happen. It was just absolutely insane. Satellite was there the whole time. And all the times I've gone on about me probably being the most censored man on the internet, I think now I've really rocketed it home for him. But yeah, anyway. But apart from that, anything you want to add, man? Or?
No, that's it, man.
Oh, cool. Alright, guys, obviously, like I say, if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to smack them in the comment section below. You haven't seen that video about Captain Marvel yesterday, I apologise for ranting, but go and check it out. Apart from that, if the video's been helpful, plus smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell because you got to do 3 or 4 things now to let YouTube know you possibly want to be hearing about possibly my videos in the possible future. No guarantees you will keep hearing about them though. And apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.